We're going to do some review here on lessons 4.6 through 4.10. So on page 248, we look at lesson 4.6, talked about inequalities. Inequalities, inequality means that something is not equal. So could be less than. Remember, less than symbol kind of looks like an L. Greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, or not equal to. Those are our different options. So you can see the book's giving us some examples over on the side here. You can look at those, and hopefully those will make sense. We're going to go ahead and look at some practice problems here. So number one, they want us to write an inequality. Up to 5 people P visited Mary today. So we could think about how many people might have visited Mary. What it's going to boil down to is that our inequality, we're going to get either P is less than or equal to 5. You could have it as 5 is greater than or equal to P. This is how I would usually write it. But either one of those would be correct. And what you can do is just think about an amount of people that might have visited Mary. Up to 5 people visited. Well, for example, 1 person could have visited. So think about if you put that number in your inequality, 1 is less than or equal to 5, that works. And so that means, at least seems like we probably have a good inequality there. It's always a good idea to do that. Just do a quick check to see if your answer makes sense or not. So if we look at number 2, the value V of the hat is less than $9. So that would be V is less than 9. If you want to put your dollar sign on there, it never hurts to have units. V is less than $9 if you like. Number 3, number of guests G coming for dinner is not 8. So just not 8, we could put it as G is not equal to 8. One thing we could do in addition to this, they could also ask you to define a variable. If they ask you to define a variable, the way we would like to put that is let, like on this problem, we could put let G represent the number of guests coming for dinner. I'm not going to write that all out, but okay, that's how you would define a variable. Let G represent whatever. Let X represent whatever. Okay, that's called defining the variable. You're picking a letter and you're telling what it's going to represent in the problem. Number 4, the distance of the race D is at least 6 miles. So at least 6 miles is going to be D is greater than or equal to 6. At least 6 miles. And number 5, the time it takes to get to Grandma's house T is longer than 2 hours. So longer than 2 hours would be T is greater than 2. Lesson 2 talks about solving inequalities. So this is kind of issue where they give us a graph maybe and ask us to write an inequality that represents that graph. They could also give you an inequality and ask you to graph the inequality. So we could go either way here. So these, they've already given us the graphs. We're just telling what the inequality would be. And they're not telling us a variable, so you could use whatever letter that you want to here. And once again, when we actually draw our inequalities, we're going to put it with the part above the line so it's easier to see and we don't have to sharpen the pencil every time we do a problem. Okay, so if we look at number 1, you can see that graph. We've got an open circle at 10 and going to the left. And we have to write an inequality that represents that. So that would be the graph of x is less than 10. Anything less than 10 is not including 10 is why we have the open circle. And we've talked about it. If you have your variable on the left side of your inequality, the arrow on the end of your answer should look the same as the inequality in your answer. Number 2, we've got an open circle at 5 and going to the right. So that would be x is greater than 5. Anything greater than 5. Number 3, we've got a closed circle at 3 going to the right. So that would be x is greater than or equal to 3. Or equal to, since we have the closed dot there, means it includes that point. Could be equal to 3. And number 4 has a closed circle at 7 and going to the left. So that would be x is less than or equal to 7. Lesson 8, we talked about dependent and independent variables. So one way to do this, think about which thing depends on the other thing. The book talks about also which variable causes the change. We also have talked about independent. Independent comes first and then dependent comes second. So distance traveled and speed. So does your distance you travel depend on your speed, or does your speed depend on the distance you traveled? So for this one, dependent is going to be D, and independent is going to be S, because the distance you go depends on how fast you're going, is a way of looking at that. Number 2, calories C in a snack and the amount of the snack. So does the amount of calories depend on the amount of the snack, or does the amount of the snack depend on the calories? So this one actually is going to be the calories are going to be dependent on the amount of the snack. Amount of snack is going to be independent. Okay, in other words, if I ask how many calories your snack is, well, it depends on how much I eat of it, for example. Okay? Number 3, the amount of money you have spent, S, and how much money you have left, M. So, is the money we spent depend on how much money you have left, or the money you have left depend on how much you have spent? So for this one, actually, how much money you have left is dependent on how much money you have spent. Did it again. Independent. Okay, and number 4, the number of apple slices remaining and the number of apple slices eaten. So for this one, the remaining apple slices would be dependent on how many slices you've eaten. So the number you've eaten is independent. And again, this one you could think about which one came first. Well, we ate the apple slices and then we had slices left over. Kind of like on the last problem also. We started out, we spent some money, and then we had money left afterwards. Lesson 9 is on using patterns to write and solve equations. So again, they give some information off to the side. If you look at number 1, they want us to find the pattern and then write a rule and an equation that represents the pattern and then complete the table. And we can do this in whatever order we want to, but we do have to write a rule, we have to write an equation, and we have to complete the table. So what we can do is try and look what's happening as we go from our x to our y. So for this, you might notice the numbers are getting smaller. Well, 0 to 0, that didn't change. But otherwise, they're getting smaller. That's a good indication, since it went from 0 to 0, not changing, that in this case we are dividing. And the question is, what are we dividing by? And the answer would be 2. So if we keep dividing by 2, 16 divided by 2 is 8. 20 divided by 2 is 10. And what we could do then is think about in general that our y value is equal to our x value divided by 2. You could also have that switch around and say x equals 2 times the y value. Again, long term, as you go along in math, y equals is going to be usually how we're going to write our equations. And then they also ask for a rule, so you need to give something in words. So one way you could say that the value of y is half the value of x. Or you could say x is 2 times y, something like that. And if we look at number 2, they want us to use that equation to complete the table. So for number 2, basically we've got several substitution problems that we'd be doing here. So if we just take our equation, the first thing they want us to put a 1 in place of the x. And then do your order of operations. So 6 times 1 is 6. And then 6 plus 1 is 7. We can do the same thing with the other numbers as well. If we put a 2 in for x, 12 plus 1 would be 13. You can do that for the rest of them. If you do, you'll end up, should get 19, 25, and 31. Lesson 10 talked about relating tables, graphs, and equations. So there's information on the side there. If we look at number 1, cross-country team practices by jogging on the town streets. Average jogging rate is 6 miles per hour. One member jogged for 3.5 hours one weekend. And the question is, how many miles did the team member jog? They want us to complete the table, relate the number of miles to the number of hours jogged. So you can see x is going to be our number of hours. And then y is going to be the number of miles that they jogged. Okay, how far they jogged depends on how long they jog. And then we could think about if they're jogging 6 miles per hour. So in 1 hour they would have jogged 6 miles. Literally, that's what it means. 6 miles per hour means you jog 6 miles in 1 hour. For 2 hours would be 12 miles, and for 3 hours would be 18 miles. So these would be some numbers we could use to fill in what they asked us to do on part A. Part B, it asks us to graph the ordered pairs. When we go to graph this, we should label X is the hours and Y is the miles. They gave us some numbers here. They wouldn't have had to done that. We could have started from a clean slate and you guys could have come up with these numbers. So 1, 6 is going to be kind of a halfway in between point. 1, 6. We've got 2, 12. And we've got 3 and 18 is kind of another in-between point. When you graph these at this point, your points should be making a line. They should be lining up with each other. And when you go to graph that, just go past your point there, go past your last point, and then put an arrow on the end to show that that could keep going further. Part C, the equation. If you look back at your chart, you can come up with the equation would be y equals 6x. And then they asked how far they would go in 3.5 hours or 3.5 hours. We would just multiply 6 times 3.5. When you work that out, it'd be 21 0/10 or just 21 miles. And then on number 2, so Alex is making puppets for a show. He bought all the string he needed for $125. It costs $18 for the remaining materials to make each puppet. And the question is, what's the total cost to make 50 puppets? For this, let's assume that they want us to come up with an equation first. So we could define variables first. So we could say, let C represent the cost in dollars, and let P represent the number of puppets. So our cost would be equal to, we started out $125 and then plus $18 for each puppet, so 18 times P would be that cost. And then we can use that equation to figure out for 50 puppets. Substitute 50 in place of P. Use order of operations, so 18 times 50 is 900. And then if you add 125 and 900, would be $1,025. So this gives you a little bit of an idea of what we've done in lessons 4.6 through 4.10.